During spiritual awakening, the first thing that changes isn't your life. It's the way you experience everything. Nothing dramatic happens on the outside. Your routine might look the same. The people around you are still the same. But inside, everything shifts. And once it shifts, the world doesn't feel the same anymore. You don't suddenly become happy or peaceful all the time. What changes is your sensitivity. You start noticing things you didn't notice before. You walk into a room and immediately feel the energy. Before anyone speaks, before anything happens. Some places feel heavy, some feel loud, and some feel calm in a way you never noticed before. This is one of the earliest signs of spiritual awakening. You start noticing things more clearly. It's not that the world changed. It's the way you see things. Conversations start to feel different because you are hearing more than the words. You notice tone instantly. You notice tension under casual sentences. You notice who is really there and who's just pretending. Small talk can feel overwhelming, not boring, overwhelming. It's like your body is picking up more information than it used to. And because of that, certain interactions suddenly feel loud. Just so noisy. During awakening, your body, your nervous system, stop numbing itself. Before, you could override discomfort easily. You could stay engaged even when something felt off. You could push through. Now, you can't. Your body reacts before your mind has a chance to explain things away. You might feel tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, and need to step back without knowing why. And this happens even with people you've known for years. That's the confusing part. Because nothing happened. You didn't fail out. You didn't change your values overnight. You didn't decide to distance yourself. Your frequency changed. And when your frequency changes, you can't handle things that feel off anymore. This doesn't make you better. It doesn't make others worse. It just means you don't have to change to fit everything around you anymore. Another thing that changes during spiritual awakening is time. Urgency disappears. You don't feel rushed to reply. You don't feel pressure to keep conversations going. You don't feel the same pull to stay constantly engaged. Not because you don't care. It's because your attention has turned inward. Your system is resetting. And when that happens, the world naturally becomes quieter. You may notice that things that used to excite you don't anymore. And things that used to upset you don't hit you the same way anymore. It's not numbness. It's just neutral. Neutrality feels strange at first. because we are used to live in stimulation, emotional highs, emotional lows, constant reaction. Awakening removes some of that intensity. You start observing instead of reacting. You notice patterns in people's. You notice patterns in yourself. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is where relationships start to change. Not because you want them to, but because the way you see things has changed. You start sensing people instead of imagining them. You feel when someone is grounded. You feel when someone is anxious. You feel when someone is emotionally pulling from you. And your body responds automatically. You may start needing more space, more silence, more time alone. Not because you are antisocial, but because your body is processing more information than before. Spiritual awakening often comes with a deep need for simplicity. You stop wanting to explain yourself because words feel insufficient. How do you explain that the world feels louder? That your tolerance for noise has dropped? That you are no longer able to pretend not to feel what you feel? You don't have a neat story. You don't have a label that fully fits. So you stay quiet. And from the outside, they look like withdrawal. But internally, it feels like alignment. You are no longer splitting your attention, no longer overriding your body, no longer forcing connection when your body says no. Another shift during spiritual awakening is how you related to identity. You don't cling to roles the way you used to. You don't feel the need to be consistent for others. You don't feel obligated to maintain a version of yourself. Not because you're changing personalities, but because identity feels lighter. You are less interested in who you are, and more interested in what feels true in the moment. That alone can unsettle people. Because when you stop playing a role, the structure around that role loosens. Some relationships were built on predictability, on you being available, on you responding in a certain way. Awakening simply removes the automatic performance. And without that performance, some connections collapse. Others become uncomfortable. Some get irritated. Some don't know how to relate to you anymore. Because you're no longer responding the way you used to. But to you, it doesn't feel dramatic. You just feel less resonance, less pull. This is often when people say, I feel like I'm on a different frequency now. And that's actually true. Not in a mystical sense, but in a nervous system sense. Your system is calmer, more present, less reactive. Environments that are highly reactive feel overwhelming. Emotional situations feel draining, but you don't judge them. You just don't stay in them as long. Another part of awakening is learning to protect your energy. You become very aware of what drains you and what restores you. You stop giving energy automatically. You stop trying to fill silence. You stop managing other people's feelings. Because your body doesn't have the energy to do things automatically anymore. Awakening simplifies. You are more present than before, just with fewer things. It removes everything that isn't essential, and that includes certain relationships, habits, conversations, and environments. Because they don't match your current state anymore. You stop trying to hold on. You stop trying to return how things were. You accept that the way you see things has changed. And because of that, the way you experience life has changed too. Spiritual awakening isn't about becoming special. It's about becoming sensitive. Sensitive to truth. Sensitive to things that feel off. Sensitive to what your body has always known. And once that sensitivity turns on, life can no longer be lived unconsciously. You see more. You feel more. You tolerate less noise. This phase doesn't need fixing. It doesn't need explanation. It doesn't need a conclusion. It's just your body finding its balance. A quieter way of being. A slower way of connecting. A more honest way of existing. And if some people don't stay after that, just the natural effect of awakening.